Greetings and welcome to the 1/6 Scale Man proudly presents. You know what time it is. Take your position. Um, Let me see here. I don't know if I'm for some reason I'm actually way up on this camera, but hey, I'm happy to be here. But anyway, thank you for being here. I'm so happy that tonight we get a chance to basically talk about come on, it's Moon Knight. It's episode 4 of Moon Knight. Some of the things that we predicted went south, but some of the things, here's the thing. In my opinion, and I can't really share the thoughts of my compadres, but I think this psychologically was one of the best episodes I saw out of all of them because it was so dope and nicely done. It did showcase Layla as a powerhouse. I'm so happy to see that. And then on top of that, did it all without one hint of Moon Knight's suit or even Mr. Midnight himself. So again, so happy about this episode. But yeah, we're gonna dive in. But first, let me just bring in the amazing expert panel that we actually have on display tonight. We got none other than Mr. Butt Naked himself. Now, here's the thing, bro. You've been asking this for like the longest time, and you've probably been wondering where I came up with this name, Butt Naked Assassin.
Yeah, there was never really any origin story.
There was never no origin story, no
just
explanation as to where we came up or why I came up with that name. So I'm here to basically let you know that I don't know. It just happened, bro. It was just one of those names that just rolled off the tongue, and it just, I can't tell you where it came from.
You just all of a sudden we're just thinking about me butt naked, and
no,
okay.
I wasn't thinking about you butt naked. I was
okay.
just
That's okay.
I wasn't thinking about you.
That's all right. I don't judge.
Butt naked. It just butt naked assassin just rolled off the tongue, and the only thing I can equate to that is because you're raw and unfiltered. So that's the only thing I can equate that. Just butt naked.
I have been told that I lack filters. Yes, that is.
Yes,
that is
you
a thing.
You do.
That is a thing. So
yeah, I know Leo well enough to know that sometimes things just emerge out of thin air, and then there's no going
hold.
back.
They
just take hold.
There's
take hold.
Yeah.
The running joke,
and then it's a lock. And it's a lock. There's no like, oh, he'll get over this in a couple.
Nah,
no,
it's like
no.
It's
rule,
canon now.
It's canon.
It's canon. Everything is canon. There's no 1/6 retcons.
Nope.
Yo,
it's canon.
How long has the room been a running joke now, bro?
We're going on, I don't know, 6 years.
6 years now. It's been 6 years. So because it was when we were going to actually see the Last Jedi.
Oh, so
right?
yeah, 5 years. Yeah, because it was.
So it's been 5 years. So it's been about
5 years.
5 years since the Last Jedi. So that's been a running joke for 5 years. Butt Naked Assassin has been about a year. We're not yet. Almost a year.
Yeah, about that.
About a year. Yeah, it's just gonna run for a while. So I mean, it is what it is, man. Just names. Hey, it's endearment. That's all it is. Anyway, what's going on, man? Besides the simple fact that you're always putting up food and meat to kind of, poke the bear, bro. What's going on?
How but it looks good and makes you hungry. Then you go out and have a tofu burger or something. Yeah, dude. It's been a fun week, dude. Despite the format difficulties with the Prime 1 showcase, there are a lot of pieces that I really, really loved coming out of that. Two that I'm definitely going to buy, but even the other ones that I might not or I won't. There were some banger pieces that just looked amazing. They started off showing stuff that we had already seen, which was stupid, like the dark side and stuff. But that Hal Jordan and Sinestro, those things were
bro.
Jaw
Vinny,
dropping.
you got to see that Sinestro and Hal Jordan, bro.
1/3 scale. The Sinestro in particular, here's the thing. I don't think you can get one or the other. I think you got to get both. They look that good and that good together. But if I went with just one, it would probably be the Sinestro, dude. With the 3 different sculpts on those that all looked amazing. Like it was gorgeous.
Dope. And because basically it's rarely do we actually get Sinestro statues. So it's just
I know. We get Green Lantern a fair amount, but we don't. I honestly I can't remember the last time I saw
The
like a
Sinestro.
legit high end Sinestro
Yeah.
collectible. I
Yeah.
really can't. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'm definitely getting that Penguin. I'm definitely getting the Uncharted piece.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And just rewatching, rewatching Moon Knight and getting ready for this Wednesday's episode. Got
Yeah.
this piece in too, so I'm
Son
enjoying
of a bitch.
this. You didn't
So
get yours didn't come in. I thought it was out for delivery today.
mine is not no. So mine arrived. So this is what they've been
Oh, into
doing
the
for.
city, but didn't
It's arrived,
actually.
but it's basically slated for release or arrival on the 27th. But I'm like, normally when they get it in,
Yeah,
they'll
mine was
deliver it
too, but they
right
still
away.
deliver it early. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just here, bro. Like here for some reason they're doing it's the dumbest thing. So hopefully it arrives tomorrow. I don't know.
Mine was supposed to be delivered on the 27th, but they delivered it today. So no, I
Yeah,
got a lot of work to do with the head because the hair is
let me bring that in
crazy.
real quick.
But I can like I'm gonna be straightening because if you tweak the hair, you can start to get it looking pretty good. I don't
Yeah,
have
yeah,
it in
yeah, yeah, yeah,
focus right
yeah.
now. The sculpts are pretty good actually. Like both of them, I'm pretty happy with. So I got some work to do on the hair to get it like I'm gonna I might actually even use some scissors and
Murray's.
trim it. But I'll use some hair product but I think I'll get it pretty good. But
So
yeah,
is the
the
hair
suit
too long?
it's just a little bit long and it's got like these waves, kind of like curls to it. So
Yeah, yeah,
once you get
yeah.
it straightened, then I think everything will be good. So that's the first thing is I'm gonna get it to like be straight a little bit more.
Mhm.
Once I do that, then I will put it on. Then I'll see if I want to trim it a little bit if it's too long.
Yeah.
Because the idea is to get it like looking like what you see on the box is
Right there, yeah.
like not even the outside of the box actually. So if you if I open it, it's the inside, the like insert
Mhm.
is actually I think the better one.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. That
that's
looks
what I
better.
want to try and pull off.
Mhm.
So it's just going to take some straightening, and
Yeah.
then once I do that, then which is I mean that's one of the big reasons why I hate rooted hair because I don't want to have to
Yeah.
go through that.
Gotta go
But
through all the extra stuff just to kind of get it
nobody
done.
else besides So has given us this figure, so I'll
Yeah.
deal with the rooted hair. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm enjoying that. I got that in earlier today, so that'll take a little while to get the way I want it. But yeah, I got that in. Other than that, yeah, right now I'm just focused on Wednesday and Moon Knight and new comics because there's a new Spider-Man run starting at issue number 1 this Wednesday. As we move toward issue number 900
Yeah.
of Amazing Spider-Man. So, which is only like 5 or 6 episodes, 5 or 6 issues into this
Yeah.
this new run. So
Yeah.
that's going to be cool. Oh, also, the 750th issue of Thor is Wednesday. So there's some good stuff coming, and then obviously episode 5 of Moon Knight, which I think is just going to be bonkers.
Moonizzy. I cannot wait, man.
Yeah, dude,
Definitely
it's gonna
can't
be
wait
good.
for that. It's gonna be dope. Vin Dog, bro. What's up, man? What you got going on, brother?
Just getting home from a long ass day at work. I was like 13-hour day. I'm beat, but get my second one to talk about Moon Knight, man. I'm excited
Straight
to talk
up.
about. There's a lot to dissect. This was a very, very interesting episode. So there's ton to dive into. I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, man. Like episode 4 was out there, but in such a good way. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Absolutely.
Definitely in a good way that, it was definitely something that was nice to follow. That I was pretty much looking forward to. And it just to kind of see where the narrative was going to go. And I believe like this was where, because we talked about it, this was the episode that even the reviewers, a lot of critics, they only got up into this episode. They weren't allowed to see.
Yeah, they kept these last 2 on wrap.
They kept them on wrap, so no one has actually seen it. No one know what's to be expected. Like it's all out a surprise for anyone going forward. You know what I mean? So I think that's what they want to keep it, because there's going to be, I think there's going to be a revelation, a heavy revelation for the next couple of episodes. There's only what, two left, right?
Two left, yeah.
So there's going to be a heavy revelation for the next two episodes, and there's a lot that they have to actually cover within the next two episodes. So it's exciting. Definitely, I'm excited to jump into it. Before we do though, real quick, let me address the chat. We got Ashley Chase in the building. Thank you for being here, Ash. Man, hope you feel better, bro. We got Charlie the Unicorn in the building. Loco Lou is in the building. Renz Talentino is actually here. We got One Pouch Man in the building. We got the first Lokage 92 is in the building. Thank you for being here. William Owens, the channel member is actually in the building. Thank you for basically being here. Charlie the Unicorn. We got Luminar with this $2 super chat. Y'all going to explain the hippo, right? Yeah, we gonna get there. Don't worry about it. We got you. We got my daughter in the building, ready for this discussion. Scarlett, thank you for being here, baby girl. We got who else in here? The Ben Cave, Vinny's out there. We got Amber May is in the building. Thank you for being here. We got Malika Mabane. Thank you for being here, my man. Figurastic Park is actually here. We got Vibes in the building. Two Ferns. Let's see here. AJ Agruza is actually in here. Man, who else we got? Quite a few. Let's see here. Man, yeah, we've actually covered everybody, and there's more to actually come and reach out in here. So I can't wait to see everybody. So with this episode, right? We all predicted that with Steven being down, with of course, Spector Mark being down, we thought that we would see a new identity, and we didn't.
I think we kind of did.
I think we
he
seen
was
a hint of an identity.
Yeah, I think he was in that sarcophagus.
One of the sarcophagus.
Like
We've seen that, but I'm talking about starting off the episode. I thought that
I did think
that personality would take it, but they're keeping that personality a hint for some reason. And
I like it though.
I like it too,
because I think that the way they kept and we'll get into it, but I think that the way that they hinted at Jake also hints at that there's so much more than Jake, because we know that there's your 4 or 5 mains that are on a rotation, but there's many more. There's 10 plus identities that we've seen over the years, and they're just not as constant as Steven and Jake and Mark and Mr. Knight and Moon Knight. But when we see the end sequence, it teases Jake in a big way, but it also teases who knows if there's a sarcophagus in all of those rooms. We don't know. But I love I love them holding it back for now, and having this episode really dive into the things that it tackled, and saving Jake for possibly the next episode, or even the finale, as opposed to just rushing through all the prime identities and then having to I like that they saved it. I thought I didn't really want them to save it to like a film or something else, but I didn't think that we needed it in like episode 1, 2, 3. I like that it was held off a little bit.
Like they basically stalled on it. Yeah, they're
keeping mystery in this show in a way that we haven't really seen since WandaVision.
It's this show is very WandaVision.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This is like almost like a spiritual successor to WandaVision. Yeah, there was mystery, and there was stuff that we didn't know with Loki, but we understood. There's so many time travel kind of movies and TV shows and those tropes and stuff, but this one isn't just about like the rules of time travel and the multiverse. You have multiple different versions of this character. Like this one is much more of a head scratcher. Like you're like, what's real, what's not. How do the gods play into that? The perception of reality. Just like WandaVision was about perception of reality, or multiple realities. And so I think that's one of the reasons why people are really enjoying this which I mean, we love the character, but it's kind of surprising if you asked like 5 years ago how a Moon Knight TV show would do critically, like, wide audiences. I
Yeah.
would have said, well, I want to see it, but I don't know how many other people want to see it. And we're
Yeah.
seeing that the way Marvel is executing this is that people who have no clue about Moon Knight are really enjoying this because of that sense of mystery, that sense of I don't know what the hell is happening,
Mhm.
but it's fun.
Yeah.
And that's why I mean this episode, to be honest, is my favorite of the four so far. And we don't even see Moon Knight. We don't even
Yeah.
see the suit. This was Indiana
Yeah.
Jones and the Mummy, and it was tomb raiding adventure and some horror. And it just had so much fun with all of the genres that it was kind of blending into one, that I didn't need to see the suit in this one. I was itching to see the suit in that
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
episode. And so when we got the reveal at the end of the episode, I was like, no, 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 I don't want the episode to end because I want to see more of the suit. But
Hmm.
in this episode, I was not clamoring for the suit because I was just so in the moment for
Yeah.
everything that was happening.
And
Yeah.
we were getting explanations for a lot.
And
I have
so
to
many Easter eggs.
so many daggone Easter eggs. It was pathetic, but I have to say one of the highlights for me, strangely enough, was getting a chance to basically see Layla in the very beginning, bro.
Dude, they
Seeing
got big
how,
plans for her.
bro, they have to because she is so capable, bro.
Well, they teased it in this episode in multiple ways
Yeah,
of what's going to happen with her in the future. Now, is it going to happen in this show? Is it going to happen in continuing in the MCU? But there were some really big Easter eggs in this episode that tease her future, and it's pretty cool.
yeah. Like it really was like the opening sequence of her, making sure that Mark slash Steven, was well protected at that point. It showed basically under pressure how capable she was. And also we understand now um why what Conchu's motivation is, why he sees her as a well capable suitor.
She's
you
not a
know
damsel in distress. She's
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 not at
she's not the
all.
Raimi Mary Jane.
She's not at all. You know what I mean? Not at all. She's definitely not. And we see that in her, that she's well capable of taking care of herself under any amounts of pressure. That Steven is basically following her lead. It was just like I said, I thought the open now. Here's the thing though, it was crazy because during the opening sequence with the shootout, her
The flares.
the flares, not even basically her throwing the flare in the back of the truck. I mean, those bullets were just ricocheting everywhere.
And
She didn't
she
get
just kind of stood out in the
and
open and
didn't get
watched it. It's
touched.
like she's not
Neither
even
her or
ducking.
exactly. Neither her or Steven got touched. I was like, okay, cinematically, come on, man. But
But
I
I mean,
understand she's a
that's the kind of crazy stuff that you would see in like an Indiana Jones movie too, where
yeah,
like
yeah,
500 bullets get shot at him, and he's just kind of going like this, and
yeah.
they're all just pinging around him, and
Like,
it's one of the tropes of those kind of like adventure type, TV shows, movies, comics, where it's just like they can just run through and all the bullets will magically miss them and stuff, but just
mhm.
enough to give you a little bit of like that, and it's like you don't even have to really suspend disbelief because you expect that kind of stuff
yeah,
once you're in the genre.
yeah.
And so you're just like, this is fun, whatever, I don't care, it's fun.
It's so much fun that you just kind of let it slide. You just go with it. But it was just, again, so much in depth. Um, and also the simple fact that we do also find out, or she found out somewhat of the truth about her family, about her father. There was
Mhm.
so much to go off of when it comes to her story. And that's what here's the thing. Now, also, we get a look, number one, in the very beginning at all of the different gods that are actually entombed.
Yep.
You get a chance to actually see them all. There were so many there, bro. And
I
I'm
mean,
like,
there is turmoil There's turmoil among the gods because that group, that like kind of court that they had, those motherfuckers are basically just they're entrapping a lot of other gods in stone. They're exiling a lot of other gods. So it's
Yeah.
like, well, who gets to be the judge? Who gets to decide all this? And were any of those nefarious? Like there's gonna be some, and I think that's what ties into um seeing Tamaret, which is the hippo god that we saw at the end of the episode. I think I think they're. My theory is that they're probably like in the that kind of white room, like that asylum type thing toward the end. I think they're in kind of like, I think Mark and Steven, whatever, are kind of like in the a kind of like underworld, and that's where like those other like exiled or trapped gods are down there somewhere.
So we're right now addressing the hippo in the room.
Yeah, we're kind of fast forwarding through a lot of points, though. We'll
We're
just
gonna
roll
go
with that.
back. We're
All
we're
right.
gonna go back.
It's
We're
I
gonna
mean it's
go back.
everywhere. It's
Yeah.
It is because the show was pretty much everywhere, but
Yeah.
we'll roll with it because
All right.
here's the thing. Also, this harkens back also to the first episode of what we saw of him working in the museum. Also, when he had to restock the
yep, and it was like
merchandise,
the plushies. Yep.
the little plushies, the little hippo plushies that were in. So we were actually getting this sign the whole way through. But these were pieces that we actually saw in the asylum at the very end, and everybody basically played a role. And there was like, I remember hearing a few people uh wondering whether or not the reality that Mark and Steven were in was really a reality that they are seeing, or is it one of those things where he's really in this asylum working these things out? And in my opinion, it is completely the opposite. Whereas the reality is what he's seeing with, you know, on this quest with Khonshu and everything else. The asylum is basically a warped reality of what we're supposed to perceive that these characters are really in. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked that twist pretty much in the end. And where it is, and actually see, because this even harkens back to like when we saw both, Stephen and Mark embracing and coming to terms with who they were, or they're almost coming to terms with both personalities. This kind of harkens back to the series where Mark himself finally defeats Khonshu by making peace with each individual personality. They're not gone, but he just makes peace with he comes to the terms that they exist. And these are reality, these are personalities that are going to always be there and are always going to be a part of him.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's where they're going with it. You know what I mean?
And you got to remember too that this is taking directly from the Lemire
Yep.
run, where he
Yep.
is in the asylum. The orderlies, that they used as cops in earlier episodes, are orderlies, in this episode. And they were, orderlies that were like torturing him and stuff. You look at that asylum, I mean, with like the Egyptian architecture, the brick, the columns, and then all of the different things that are placed. No actual like mental hospital looks like that. No, like, so I think this is a representation of essentially what it was in the comics, where it was sort of like it was a prison to not let him know what is real and what's not, and to trap him. So yeah, I mean, the theories that I've seen bandied about have basically been either this, like the world that we've seen up until this point is real, and then this is not, or this is real and it's him trying to kind of reconcile everything in a way so he can break out of it. And that's what he's been kind of seeing in the first handful of episodes. But I do think that this is more of like the kind of mental prison for him to try and break through.
Yeah, true. What were you gonna say, Vinny?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that everything that we've seen in that segment was just either being done to him or him working out all the shit that's going on that's overwhelming to him. And I think that that's a big part of, at least in the comics anyway, that was a big part of where the DID came from in the first place. Just his brain trying to process his life and
Hmm.
turning those controlled identities that he was in control of into personalities on of their own accord. And this is just like the next step in that, with the asylum being a way to just kind of shut down and heal and process the information that he's been struggling to deal with in many different ways, mixed in with the gods interfering, and whatchamacallit, and Tarwet, and who knows what else interfering, and to tweak that reality that he has too. And then you see so many little Easter eggs of that asylum sequence of people he's met, things that he's done,
Hmm.
views from his apartment being the view from
Hmm.
the asylum. All those little things, everything in there is there for a reason.
Hmm.
Is and then we see Tarwet, who's the god of fertility and birth. So it's a hint that it'll be a doorway, I suppose, for him to be reborn. Because
Hmm.
without Khonshu, who in the comics would basically just resurrect him if he was killed on a mission, they kind of tweaked that to be the suit has a healing factor in this show. So
Yeah.
this is a tweak on the lore. So that would be his way of coming back, as opposed, since there's no Khonshu there to heal him as he was on his mission, since there was
Yeah.
no Moon Knight. And I love that this episode had no Moon Knight, and so many
Yeah.
people were cool with it, because I feel like you're not going to be able to do this if he's in a movie in the future, but you can do all this, set up all the backstory you want, and then if he's in a movie in the future, then do the fucking badass full fledged Moon
Yeah.
Knight kicking ass and do all that then. But you won't have the
Yeah.
time to set all the shit up like you need, to do with this.
Yeah. Definitely. Do you think, because you bring up an interesting point, that with the rebirth, it's sort of like in a sense, break away from the dependency. You know what I mean? The need or the feel that Khonshu is your uh Khonshu is basically that dependency from Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Um, whereas Steven, it was hard, it's sort of hard for Khonshu to really control Steven, because Steven has, he's curious, he sort of has his own mind.
Mm-hmm.
He's not swayed by that. So
No, it's hard for him to control Steven because he's an idiot.
yeah, he's an idiot, but is he? You know what I mean? Like, he's
Right.
an idiot, but he's only, put it this way, Steven is the reality that we experience.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas we live in a world where we're not superhuman. Like, we're flawed in so many aspects of the
An
word.
idiot in Khonshu's eyes, because he doesn't know what's going on. Now,
Exactly.
and you know what I mean? So it's more like, because Steven's ignorant, he's
Yeah.
unaware of how dire the situation is. And every time he's tried to communicate with Steven, it's been under dire circumstances where he doesn't have time to explain. He's just telling him what to do. And if any of us heard a voice in our head telling us what to do that we didn't recognize, we would be asking a million questions instead of just doing what it told us.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Definitely. I loved the conversation that Layla had, when she basically found out, when, of course,
That scene was just so powerful. That
that
was
scene was
amazing.
extremely powerful, bro.
I'm probably in the minority with Leia. It'll be a probably unpopular opinion. Layla was absolutely badass and very cool in this episode, and definitely more likable in this episode that she's been. But I don't want this, in my opinion, to turn into we are Moon Knight with like Iris and Barry type of thing.
Yeah.
That's
Nah,
not
nah,
what I'm
nah.
going. That's not what I want to see Moon Knight first, and then down the line introduce side characters that will get more of the limelight. We only get
Yeah.
six episodes. I get it. There always has to be, no offense, there always has to be girl power and diversity and spread the love, and that's all great. But I want to see Moon Knight established first because there's so much to dive into with him, and I feel like there's time for that other stuff. I don't want them to hurry up and rush through selling us on passing the torch to Layla before we even get to know Mark. Not that that's what's going to happen, but I don't,
Yeah.
Well, that's one
Yeah.
of the things with we know that they've got future. We know we only have 2 episodes left of this show, so they can't overstuff these, right? They got to make sure they nail the landing on this. But we know that they have designs for Moon Knight in the MCU moving forward. So I agree. Yeah, we don't need to rush things. But the thing is, when we look back, we're realizing, oh man, they laid the groundwork for stuff like 10 movies before. So I'm hoping that a bunch of the things that we're seeing in this show are them laying the groundwork, not for what we're going to get in its entirety in this show, but what they are going to maybe do 2 or 3 movies down the road. And the thing is, we're at everything we're looking at in the Marvel universe right now, we're looking at it through the lens of Multiverse of Madness and Thor Love and Thunder, right? Those are the 2 movies that are about to drop, and we're thinking about how everything is going to tie into the larger things in those, because as of yet we haven't gotten like a reveal of like, okay, now this is the major direction that we're going in this phase. It's all been like, these are going to be connected, but we don't know exactly how yet. We haven't actually drawn the lines from one dot to the next. It's all been speculation. So we keep looking at everything that's going to happen in this, knowing that Moon Knight is going to have a larger role to play in the MCU, and thinking about how is it going to tie into Doctor Strange, how is it going to tie into Thor, this and that. But then I got to slow myself down and remember that, well, not everything that they do in this has to tie into one or both of those movies.
Yeah.
It might be 4 or 5 movies down in the MCU.
Moon Knight's a wild card.
Moon Knight next. So there's no rush on it, but they're definitely between the name on her passport, the bandage on her finger in the asylum, and the opening shot of the scene when that scarab, when there's like the red light from the flares and stuff, when that scarab goes over the hill and reveals her, it definitely seems like they are angling to have Layla be the MCU's version of the Red Scarab. And so I do think that that's where they're going.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's necessarily going to full-fledged happen in the next 2 episodes. I think that could be
it's
part of
gonna
the
be
longer game plan. At least I hope, because there are things that it's like I'm psyched to see, but I agree. I don't want them to be rushed.
Especially when we haven't really gotten a fully fleshed out Moon Knight yet.
And exactly. And I think we're going to see a little bit, like some flashes of like the Bushman story, but I don't want them to just do that whole thing in the next 2 episodes, because that'll feel rushed. I want that to maybe be a story that we get in maybe like a Moon Knight movie or something after we tell this story as it needs to be. Then maybe it's like, Bushman comes in, Raoul Bushman comes in, and then we flesh out more of that backstory. But right now, let's just get to know who he is in the moment. So yeah, it's just a matter of seeing what they do in the next 2 episodes and what is saved for future content, whether it's a Moon Knight movie, a team up movie, another series that isn't called Moon Knight. It's like something else, but at this point, we just got to kind of roll with it, see what these 2 episodes bring, and then go from there.
Yeah. And I think that's, again, they're positioning her to definitely be, a focal point in either Marcus Stevens' life. But I think her space right now is to provide that narrative between, and that connection between her and Mark, even for Mark to really realize or come to terms with a lot of stuff that he did. Like there were a lot of transgressions, things that he's been trying to overlook for a while, things that he hasn't actually revealed, even about himself. His connection with her and her father. Even when she was like, that was powerful when she was like, so I wasn't, you didn't marry me because you loved me. It was because of guilt. You know what I mean? Like I was like, wow, like even when she said it, I had to kind of look at it like, well, yeah, I would probably look at it the same way. Because you're responsible for or partially responsible for the murder of my father. You didn't do it, but you were
You hid it
there
from me. Yeah, yeah.
and
She
you
never
hid the
got
whole
to
thing.
know.
You know what I mean? So that
I don't know, man. If I marry you, that's a hell of an apology. Just be like, I mean, we're square, right? Damn.
I
Wait,
mean,
so
but
marriage is serving the penance then for
Yeah.
his thing? Okay.
How many married people have you talked to that wouldn't agree on that?
but here's my thing though.
Look, hey, no, you're like, should I sit? No,
I'm
wait,
gonna leave
no.
that one alone.
Yeah,
Leave it
exactly. Yeah,
alone.
smart man, married man.
but but here's my thing though. Damn, you made me forget what the fuck I was about to say.
I'm gonna
Man.
lock the door just in case.
This made me fucking forget. What was I going to say?
Honey, you don't need to watch this part of the episode. Just fast forward past us. Vinny says some dumb shit. Go ahead.
What the fuck was I?
All right,
about to say?
Leo. While you think about it, there's one
Yeah,
thing
go
that
ahead, man, 'cause
there's
you made
one
me
thing that I
forget.
want to
Shit.
mention. I loved, I loved the kind of
Sorry,
the blend of like the tomb raiding and horror elements.
Oh yeah, hell
Specifically,
yeah.
so the the Heka priests, those like zombie kind of like
Yeah.
priests that were like cutting open
Yeah.
the orderly who
Uh-huh.
then he becomes the the orderly when they go into the
Yeah.
asylum mode. um those guys, they were creepy. You didn't ever really get a full view of them, just enough to be, and the darkness to be creepy as hell. But those guys, I think there's more significance with those because they harken back to there was a character in the books years ago, Hakad Newt, I think it was, or Newt, I think, who was essentially corrupted by what was it, Katoth? I think he was the one who created like chaos magic. He was like the elder god of that created like chaos magic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And to me, again, those priests having a tie to an elder god in the comic that created chaos magic again gives me vibes of Wanda and her chaos magic, thinking that like there's not like a maybe a direct thing that's going to happen like in Multiverse of Madness, for example, but there's a larger connective tissue for that, for the chaos magic to loop around and have a connection at some point, maybe 5 movies down the road, who knows, but between Moon Knight and Wanda and what's going on in these different sides of the MCU. And the other part of that too is that with the Heka priests, remember right now when he doesn't have access to the suit and to those powers of Moon Knight, to me I'm thinking of 2 ways that he gets it back, because you don't want to stretch that out for too long and basically the last 2 episodes of the show we hardly see Moon Knight, the hero himself.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's either going to be one of 2 things. Either they are in sort of like an underworld kind of prison where we saw Tamara, and and Khonshu is somehow down there, and when maybe Jake and Steven and Mark break out of that, maybe they free some of the other gods, maybe one of them being Khonshu, and that's how he gets his powers back.
Yeah.
The other being that maybe we see the priests of Khonshu at some point, which was another storyline where Khonshu was out of the picture and Mark lost the powers and lost the suit, or lost the powers of Moon Knight, and the priests of Khonshu were actually the ones who were basically able to imbue him and give it back to him without Khonshu being present.
Yeah.
So I feel like one of those 2 things is going to happen to get him back to being Moon Knight, so that we can see what's actually going to happen in the finale with these last 2 episodes.
And see, that's why I think that Lockley does play a intricate part, and he's the key to the escape. But it's just the simple fact that they didn't, which kind of, it made me mad, bro, because it was like, yo, you see that and they don't open it, but you know someone's in there and they
Did
don't
you
do it
see
yet.
any references to Lockley other than that the sarcophagus? Because the thing is, you've got Mark in the wheelchair, but there's a reference to the Stephen Grant altar because, and this is another big thing that I'm wondering what this has to do with it, but the movie that they're watching in the asylum, that like
Mhm.
really cheap knockoff like B movie Indiana Jones thing,
Is where he basically got the names. What
that's
they're
Stephen
saying, it was
Grant, and he's
implied he got that
right,
name.
it's a British accent too, which,
Yeah.
and Oscar Isaac said you're going to understand why Stephen Grant has this like really bad British accent is because he's supposed to be taking it from a bad movie
Right.
accent
Yeah.
that was done. But the thing is, and this is, I mean, this could be a stretch, I don't know, but I have seen this happen before. So Johnny Lee Miller is the actor who plays the Stephen Grant in that B movie in the asylum, right?
Yeah.
If you go back and watch the amazing like late 90s movie Hackers with him and
Yeah.
Angelina Jolie, he was also Angelina's first husband.
Yeah.
He is not listed in like if you go online and you look at any of his credits, he's not listed as a cast member on the main like IMDb page for Moon Knight. And if you
Mhm.
go to his page, it's not listed in his filmography either. Whereas
As
all these
being
other
part
people are
of, yeah.
Johnny Lee Miller. So, but a lot of times they do that when they don't want to reveal how many episodes somebody is going to be in. So you don't know how
Mhm.
big a role they may or may not play. And usually they do. And we've only got 2 episodes left, and we just saw him. And everybody else we've seen is listed on the IMDb, is listed in all the credits and stuff. Johnny Lee Miller is the only one that there's nothing you can find online about how many episodes he's going to be in, or that he was even going to be in that one. So
Mhm.
it makes me wonder: is is his character either the Stephen Grant like B movie dude character, or is the actor going to then somehow be somebody else in the real world? Is it going to play into things? I don't know. But so we saw a version of Stephen Grant in the asylum
Mhm.
other than Oscar Isaac Stephen Grant. So,
Mhm.
but I didn't see, other than seeing Crawley like calling out the bingo numbers, which was really
Yeah.
cool because those were all references to different like Moon Knight comic books.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But like, I didn't see another reference to Jake, so I don't know if there was one that I missed.
Well, I know that when I seen the sarcophagus, the first, obviously, like most of us, the first thought was Jake, and I was
Mm.
geeking out because I love the premise of that Jake is there. I love that there were so many rooms that there could be other personalities, but for all we know, it could be a misdirect. It could be supposed to be Khonshu. It might, for all we know, it could be Khonshu, and what we might be assuming as Tyrett as basically rebirthing Mark. For all we know, it might be her rebirthing Khonshu, so Khonshu could rebirth Mark.
Mhm.
For all we know, I mean,
Could be, yeah.
I mean, there's, the dumbest thing you could do in this show is like expect like what's going to happen next because they're tweaking everything to make it fresh, which is awesome because it's such it's such a lore that lends itself to that because it's so complex and there's so many iterations and there's no definitive Moon Knight is this and this happens and then this happens and that's who he
Mhm.
is. It's so much more. I mean,
Because they just
Watching the
flip it.
show feels like
Yeah.
reading the books because
Mhm.
you're generally like you genuinely don't know because it's like they could do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what reading books has always been like. I think that's one of the reasons why it's always been a niche title that a lot of people love the aesthetics and visuals, but then when they start to read it, the sales hasn't always grabbed people because it definitely has that huge what the fuck is going on cadence that it's has always been a gift and a curse for Moon Knight, and that's also ironically has led to why that maybe we're wrong to assume that has anything to do with multiverse or Thor or even any of the Avengers movies. Like he's such a wild card. He doesn't necessarily fit anywhere in Marvel in the comics because he's
Yeah.
so obscure and random and weird. So I love that that is kind of really playing out here too. And I love the Legion vibes of how cerebral and mindfuck that the show is had the balls to portray because I mean this is a show that even people who read comics but don't necessarily read Moon Knight love because this is something that's given a lot of comic book fans like a taste of something that is completely fresh in the medium that they already know. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like a lot of people who even heard of comic book fans but don't know about Moon Knight are loving this because they're so used to knowing what to expect from a show, good or bad, and you don't know what the
Hmm.
fuck to expect from one episode to the next on this show.
Nah, and that
I
and that I love that aspect of it is because no matter what I mean, even us who know the books,
Right.
who've read the content, because they're able, again, they're taking iterations from the book and flipping it, but
Yes.
keeping it true to the actual source material, bringing in
Mm-hmm.
the characters and bringing obscure characters in, but they're important to what's actually happening. You know what I mean? So I knew that, it was going to be a weird experience for people, at the very end, the cliffhanger that we actually got, it was going to be a weird experience for people seeing it and like, yo, what the F is this? But now it's going to force you to go back and read to really, really understand
yeah.
where this is coming from, why this is actually really going to be an important thing, for you to actually see, and the voice, like recognizing the voice of the person. And I'm wondering who that is, like who it's going to be. You know what I mean? So that iteration of what he's seeing and what it's going to represent. You know what I mean? Because of course we know that it was crazy because we get a chance to see his boss, who is now down there as an orderly. One of the persons that he was working with is an orderly in the asylum. We had both of the, we want to say detective cops, or, the individuals that have actually been after him for a while. We see them down there. Of course, we see Layla as an orderly for a specific reason, but
No, Layla is a patient.
yeah, she's not an orderly, but a patient that is, for a particular reason,
His
she's
boss from
crazy.
the gift shop was
Yeah,
a patient. Yeah,
exactly. His boss and everything. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
Crawley
there's influence, and then Crawley as well. Which I mean, I
again is a
hope
tie to Jake Lockley too. So
I know, and that's why I really want Crawley to have a much bigger role, man, because they need Crawley is important to the story. You know what I mean? He's important,
yeah,
but
I agree, but I feel like that will be saved for something beyond this show.
well, I
Because I
mean,
don't
as
because they
long
only
as
have
they
two
do it,
episodes
as
left.
long as they do it, and
Yeah.
they don't forget about Crawley,
Here's a
because he's
question.
important to Jake Lockley.
Here's a question for you. So now, early in the show, Ethan Hawke's character revealed that, Amit was betrayed by the other gods, but she was also betrayed by her avatar. Okay. Do you think that the avatar that betrayed her was Alexander the Great? Now, remember, the scarab brought us to the tomb of Alexander the Great. When they open the sarcophagus, he's got a scarab with open wings on his
Yeah.
chest that resembles
Yep.
the scarab when it goes up in like the compass style
Mm-hmm.
scarab. And then Jake Stevens got to reach into through his mouth into his gut and pulls out the statue. I can't remember what
Yeah.
they call it, but the statue of Amit
Yeah.
trapped in stone.
Yeah.
So
Right.
was he her avatar that betrayed her, and then her effigy, her whatever, the stone was hidden in his tomb with his body?
I think they partially alluded to that without being really clear. And I like the concept of that as far as that's why he was such a great ruler, because back then he had an advantage over the humans from being an avatar of a god. Mr. the Great. I love that line, and I love that they are including they're mixing up actual mythos and actual history and,
Yeah.
and tweaking it all so it's like just enough reality to lend credence to Amit and other
Yeah.
things that they're making up.
I mean, that would be a really cool thing to have Alexander the Great turn out to be in the Moon Knight mythos and have that importance, that level of, because remember also the axe that Stephen picks up, out of that tomb with like the blue inlay and stuff. That's one of the from the comics, like the weapons of antiquity that the priests of Khonshu actually gave him to use at one point.
Now, just imagine Alexander the Great really is an avatar of Amit, and then we see an interaction between him and Apocalypse in the future X-Men movie.
That would be incredible.
Seriously, exactly. Yeah.
But here's the thing, and this is how they do this so well, is because they're giving us influences of the past, not only to explain Moon Knight, not only to explain the connection of the gods that are going to actually be a high or a major connection in the MCU, but also to us, or for us to prepare ourselves for Kang. Like they want us, they're preparing, like they're putting all things in places so we'll understand the narrative in the end.
Right.
You know what I
Not
mean?
to mention, think about like they're introducing these pantheons of all these gods, right?
Yeah.
We're getting. I mean, we've already had Norse. We've already had Wakandan. All right, and we're getting more of that. We've got Egyptian right now. We're gonna get Greek is gonna be introduced in Love and Thunder with Russell Crowe playing Zeus. All right, so we've got all these pantheons being brought in at the same time that we have two major villains coming in. One is Gore the God Butcher, who hates all the pantheons. Okay. So there's, a tie to the larger MCU, but then also you're introducing all these gods, and then you're also introducing characters who can kill them or defeat them in Gore the God Butcher, and in Kang, somebody who can travel through time and go back to the height of the power of these gods, and he survives through time. When modern societies have forgotten and stopped believing in Zeus or in Khonshu or in Hera and stuff like that, but Kang is still prospering. So it elevates the character of Kang for people who aren't already familiar with him from the book.
Yeah. Bro, I'm telling you, one of my favorite lines from Gore the God Butcher was like when he said, each world has a god, but to me there's one. I'll kill them all to get to the one. Bro, like bro,
yeah, dude.
He has no fucks to give, like zero to gives.
I can't wait to see Christian Bale in that role, because I think he's. I think this is gonna be a breakout thing where he just destroys it.
Definitely.
But that's when you're looking at all of these pantheons being brought in. I don't believe that's a coincidence.
Yeah,
I think
it's definitely not. And they're making references, like, again, they're doing it the right, which is why, again, they're saying that this is only a 1-season thing, because there's a much bigger role for him to play in the MCU. Like I said, it's not just a dead basis, not going to be completed in just 2 episodes. There's a much bigger space for Moon Knight.
And we could absolutely see Moon Knight in another show. It could just be titled something else. Like
something
it's
totally
not
different,
a Moon Knight show. It could be a team up thing with him and somebody else, or they could just call it something else. They could just the name of the series could be the name of an arc from the comics or something like that, and they just take it, move him to New York and do, there's a lot that they can do. So we have no idea how we're going to see Moon Knight moving forward in the MCU, if it's on Disney Plus, if it's in multiple films, if it's going to be in his own film. Like, I don't know, but clearly they have designs for him, and they're planning them out, right? This isn't just like, oh, we'll see if people like the character and then we'll write him in somewhere else in the MCU. There's a design here.
There's a space, there's a design. Like, they want they're
But with
they're
a character
fleshing
like
this
him,
out.
it's so hard to figure out what it is.
Yeah, they're fleshing it out in a way because here's the thing, like, because I was talking to a guy at the gym about this because he's also watching Moon Knight, and he was like, "Yo, do you think that at the end of the show we're gonna get like a huge cameo reveal?" And I'm like, "I hope not. I really hope not. For me, I hope not because I want it to solely be focused on Moon Knight and his journey. I don't want that connective tissue. I would rather that be a mystery for me. And that's just me, my own personal opinion. I would want it to be more of a mystery for me to say, okay, cool. This is how this portion of the story ends without. Now, I know they're going to probably connect it to something. I would rather them make references to it without giving us a reveal of someone else. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
someone that's part of a different story.
If they do have like a cameo toward the end of the film, which show, which frankly they do in most shows and
Yeah.
movies with Marvel, it's kind of the formula. So I won't be shocked if it happens. But if they do it, it's gotta be worth it. I don't want to
Yeah.
just see another celebrity just to see another celebrity. It has
It's had
to
to be something that's
it's got to
worth it
give
and
us
means something.
something
Yeah.
that like makes my jaw drop and like they're gonna do that, or
Yeah.
like it's got to be something of substance. If it's just to see a celebrity cameo and be like, hey, you're gonna see more of that character later, or they're gonna, yeah, like there's got to be substance to it.
Yeah. I don't know. I just know that with 2 episodes left, I'm not ready to see it end yet, but I know
That's
you know
been
what I
the story
mean?
with all of these shows too. We're like, how are they gonna wrap everything up in because
In
these
2 episodes.
and there's great stuff happening in these shows and in every episode, but they're so short that we're always like, how are they going to tie all this up in the next 2 episodes? And sometimes they nail it. Sometimes it's not so much, or it feels a little bit rushed. But like,
Yeah.
it's the case in every single one of these.
Yeah.
But
That you got to wrap it up in 6. Let me ask
but
you
I
a
prefer
question real
that to them
quick.
being bloated. If they had a bunch of
Yeah.
filler episodes, no.
Let me ask you a question. Maybe it was just me because I rewinded that shit 3 times. Me and Toya rewinded it 3 times. We laughed every time we saw it. Remember when Layla came down the tomb? She went down first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she actually drew the pattern, just to kind of remind, with the of her father, just to kind of remind of her father, stuff like that. Mark comes down. Did he say mommy, bro? Did he say mother or mommy or something like that when he fell down the tomb, bro? I could have swore, not Mark, but
Yeah,
Steven.
I'm pretty sure he did.
He said
I'm pretty sure
mommy,
he's
bro. Like,
yeah, it was like when he fell.
yo,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
I don't know if that was just Oscar Isaac improvising, bro, but that shit was funny, bro.
I feel like that was an improv, like an ad lib kind of thing.
It was an ad, bro. If you go back and watch it, watch it twice.
Steven would do. So
he said "mommy," bro, when he fell because he fell in the tomb, bro.
It's like you would expect somebody to be like, "Oh shit" or something like that, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he was like, "Mommy."
Yeah,
like,
it was funny as shit, but and there's people on the chat. One Pouch Man, Midnight Suns, baby. I want
everybody is saying that
later.
and I agree. Like I would love to see that at some point.
I want it later.
Like I feel like I need like 3 to 5 years before that's
because if we're going to get because the thing is you have to explain. There's a lot to really explain and to get to those moments. You know what I mean? Because each character has a story of why, and there's a reason why they come together the way they do, and it's not a happy-go-lucky situation. You feel me? Like everything has to be explained precisely the right way.
Is crazy, dude.
It's crazy as shit.
We also have to remember though that Marvel put in the work before we got that first Avengers movie, right? They put in the work. DC didn't. DC tried to like jump the line, and they went way too soon into the Justice League without giving the proper due to the origins of a lot
Batman,
of these characters.
to actually giving each individual character the space. Yeah.
So then what happens is you get the debacle that DC is in right now. So it's like we're kind of spoiled because now we've got all these characters and we've got movies and we've got TV shows, right? We've got all of that stuff. So now we're just like, I want this now. I want this now. Give me the mutants now. I want to see X-Men right now. I would love to see the mutants, but they got to be brought in the right way.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with them slow playing it and doing it right. Same thing with something like the Midnight Suns.
Yeah.
I would love to see that on screen at some point.
Yeah.
But we got to earn it. We got to get there the way Marvel got to the first Avengers movie. Just because we have these like embarrassment of riches right now with all these great properties, all these great characters, movies, TV shows, we got to remember that if we start like slamming on the gas and going too fast, we're gonna fuck that up. Like we have to let these things unfold, just like comic book arcs unfold over like this Spider-Man Beyond that they've got. It's been going for like 30 issues. Right. That like you got to take your time and make sure that you're hitting all the character notes that you have to, because otherwise people, especially people who don't know these characters that well, they're not going to give a shit about what happens to somebody like Moon Knight unless they have this show to be introduced to him. So you got to do it in the right way and at the right pace. And Midnight Suns, I think, would just be too much of a rush right now. I mean, we've only heard Blade's voice. We haven't even seen him.
Yeah, I guarantee you that with the Midnight Suns, it's right now, it's not even a thought for Feige right now. I mean, it's probably a thought, but it's not a space that he exists in at the moment. Like he's too busy trying to get from this point, build the foundation and stuff like that. And I'm even in a space where, okay, because mind you, they've already basically come out, not even jumped ahead of this, but they've already said that, you know what, matter of fact, I don't want to reveal nothing because I don't want to have a discussion, especially with Vinny on here, but just know that
basically we got to wait till Eternals 2 and then hear the voice of Ghost Rider at the end on the after credit scene. And then Eternals 3 for like maybe the voice of Punisher and so on and so forth. So maybe, so like
it's
maybe
going to take a while for
us
to get to these points, and we just want to enjoy the ride while we can before we get there. I would much rather enjoy that ride first before we end up to that point. And what Moon Knight is doing is basically setting the stage, because it is explaining the missing pieces, the things that we may not understand, not only about the show itself, more so about the gods and their influences that could be going forward into the MCU. You know what I mean? So
question for you. Vinny made me think of something. I mean, I'd be down for an Eternals too. I know there were plenty of people who did not like the movie, but given its lukewarm at best reception by audiences at large, do you think it would be a better move for them, instead of doing an Eternals 2, do like a 6 or 8 episode Eternals Disney Plus series where they can flesh things out a little bit more, give everything a little bit better love, and then they don't have to worry about a box office flop because people didn't like the first one and so they don't go see this one?
I don't personally, if I'm completely honest, I don't want to see any more Eternals in TV or movies.
But we know we're going to, just because they have a role to play.
I know, but to answer your question, the TV wouldn't make it better for me.
You don't think so? Okay.
Not for me personally. Not to say if it would work, if it would be a more.
Do you think it would be a good business decision?
It would be a no-brainer business decision. I feel like even they have to be like, what do we do now? And they will probably come to the conclusion that Disney Plus is the better solutions than another film. Because I'll be kind of ballsy to take the way that was received and just double down on it and be like, no, you're going to like this. Now, because even if they did, they would chock that bitch full of cameos so that way you're going there to see other people, not the Eternals anyway. And if you need other characters to sell your Eternals movie, just don't do it. Do a TV show instead. So I agree, if they're going to do it again, I would rather, business-wise for Disney, if I was Disney, I would rather roll the dice on a TV show than another film, because I hope that they're not blinded enough to feel like, oh, it was just because of pandemic. It had nothing to do with that, whether it was a good movie or not. It was not a good film.
I think for them, to be quite honest, the best way to do this especially with the Eternals, because we've already gotten them. Because even if we, I mean, here, put it this way, here's how things would even tie together as well. Some of the things about the Eternals, okay, yes, we know that there were things that were off-putting when it comes to my biggest gripe was basically about the film was the introduction of the deviants. I didn't like that. I didn't like what they did with the deviants. But other than that, I thought that the story from the perspectives of the maker and the makers, the creators, I love that. I love that advancement. But what I'm saying is we know that we're going to have to basically see the Eternals again because again, as he said, our world will be judged. But you know,
Right.
Can we see
and
the
that's
Celestials without the Eternals? Is there a way
well,
that they
no,
could do? Because
I
I would
think
rather see Celestials in other films and then just forget about the Eternals because I think they did a
Well,
trash job.
they're not gonna gloss over Cersei being taken to be judged. Not to
Mm.
yeah,
mention you've also
Ugh, they're
had
all just so
Star
boring.
Fox coming in at
yeah,
the end there, but then you also
Boring.
have they 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 tied Cersei and Dane Whitman together.
yeah,
So if they have plans for one, they've got plan like you can't just abandon that
yeah.
entirely. And
I'm
I
sure
totally
they won't.
understand people who didn't like it, and that's fine. To me, I'm more thinking, regardless of quality of that film, it comes down to it has ties that have to be addressed
Yeah.
to what's going on in the larger MCU. So given that you can't just abandon it, what is the best way to move forward? Is it another film and just try and make it better and convince audiences, no, you got to see this one. This is going to be it. Or is it a Disney Plus series where they expand it? I mean, either way, they have to do better. The question
I
is,
think
what format is going to be able to tell that story the way they need it to be told
mhm.
and pull audiences in that weren't that happy with the first one.
I think how they're going to act real quick though before I answer this or I'll give my opinion on it. Drizzy hours, you have to do it on your computer. You can't because the mobile app doesn't allow you to become a member for some reason. It's stupid. So you have to do it basically from a laptop or a computer, just to let you know. But yeah, you can become a member that way. In my opinion, I think what they're going to have to do, like for instance, I thought about this even after the film. So of course we know that the only way for because the ones that were actually taken was whom? Cersei. Um, um, Cersei was taken. Who else? It was two others that were actually taken as well. Um,
The one who had the kid,
Fastos.
mechanical
Fastos.
Fastos.
So
Yep.
Fastos was taken, and I forget the other guy. So there was a couple of them that were actually taken at that point. So what I believe is, of course, they are going to have to be the ones that come back. Now, first of all, in the comics, we know that Cersei becomes a member of the Avengers. She was at one point a member of the Avengers. But with that also being said, Kevin Feige has already stated right now that at this point, the Avengers are disassembled. There is no Avengers at this point. So it's more like Cersei's going to come back to warn the people that she knows or some of the Avengers that she knows about that, yes, Erisham is coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Erisham is on his way. Like Erisham will judge this planet. You know what I mean? But what I love about the simple fact that even with from what we're supposed to get and what they're saying and who we're supposed to get in Guardians of the Galaxy and who was also playing this character in Guardians of the Galaxy, I am so hyped. If anybody basically saw, of course, Peacemaker, the guy who I forget his name, who was the alien who had the butterfly. He was one of them. He was one of the butterflies, but he was on the group. He died. Black dude. I forget his name. But he is actually playing High Evolutionary in Guardians of the Galaxy. He was already basically penned. They already said he's going to be High Evolutionary. So we all know that basically him is as a part of evolution for humanity. But also we know that he gets some of his technology from the Celestials. And we know that we have that Celestial on the planet itself. So that could actually play a major role because that's a level of understanding there. But Cersei, Fastos, they're going to be the ones that actually have to warn this planet or the Celestials. I mean, the Eternals in general are going to be the ones that are going to have to warn this planet of what's to come and to prepare them for what's to come. You know what I mean? So, of course, we know we're going to see them again, but I don't think at this point we need to see them in another film. If they're going to do it, it's going to have to be done where it's not just them in that film. It's going to have to be done on a totally different scale. Um, Doing it as a Disney Plus show, it's not going to be told in 6 episodes. If they're going to do something like that, it's going to have to be expanded in probably 2 seasons. Doing a 6-episode series or a run for the Eternals, I think that would sink. It would definitely sink if they did something like that. It would have to be done and explained in at least 2 seasons. And on top of that, I mean, they're Eternals. We know that they come. They are resurrected. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. So Icarus,
do you think they just sandwiched the what like a shortened kind of Eternals involvement into another MCU movie?
They should
not saying like Guardians, but like not saying they would, but like in Guardians, for example, did they come across the Celestials and Cersei and stuff, and then Cersei tells a quick like this is what happened to us or something like that, and they get, you know what I mean, and they relay the threat, like, and they don't do a full fleshed out movie.
They should do a QR code in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 that'll lead you to like a digital comic that'll be Eternals 2, so that way we don't have to like watch it. That would be better.
You really hated it that much, didn't you, bro?
It's not Kirby's Eternals.
Yeah.
And I don't care if they change up the source material if you make it dope. I say that all the time. If you're going to change up the source material, cool, make it dope. And they made it boring.
And here's the thing, and it's not a slight into the director because I know she's done amazing work. I would love to see some of her work again, but I just think that on this particular scale, I just think that with the Eternals, it was a bit muted for what we should have gotten. You know what I mean?
It was all over the place. It was inconsistent. One moment, Icarus can one shot a deviant. Next minute, they're messing him up. The power scaling was all over the place. No one's powers made sense or were consistent from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie. There wasn't much direction. I feel like it was very rushed and not well thought out. And their goals seemed to be like, I feel like they were more worried about checking off boxes and saying that they did things instead of actually caring about the story. And I feel like that was one of the few films that just got past Marvel. And
so if you magically basically saw if you saw what so would it take you out of Moon Knight if Cersei showed up
well, I mean,
if she showed up on episode 6, would that take you completely out of it, bro?
Well, she's in the sarcophagus, she just pops out like, aha, made you watch, made you watch more Eternals, Vinny. Nah, I don't know why she'd be there. I'm not sure why she was in Eternals. So yeah, I'd be that down, yeah. But I'd still enjoy it because it's Moon Knight. I mean,
yeah, that it won't happen. I'm just saying. I'm just kind of throwing that in.
I mean, I feel like they obviously need to resolve some stuff from that film, and I'm sure that they were hoping it was better received to have a whole nother group. I think the most frustrating thing to me is I feel like they're gonna look at Eternals and be like, "See, I'm glad we didn't do an Inhumans movie," and continue to not plan to do an Inhumans film. When I feel like Inhumans would have been the way to go as opposed to a television format. Yeah. And if they had just done the characters more closer to what, they should have been, I feel like maybe that would have, I don't know. I feel like they were more, it felt like the DC curse where they changed it just to say that it was now theirs as opposed to what people had seen, because I feel like we see that with Warner Brothers a lot. Is there's a suit that says I know how to do it, like here's what I would do, and Feige and Marvel does that sometimes, and when it works they look like geniuses, but when it doesn't work it looks like, why'd you fuck with it? It was fine. And I don't know, they changed it now for the better. So, and they didn't make it fun. They just didn't make it fun. I mean, if and I love that they tried to make it more like a art house comic book film, and I would have loved that too, but it didn't work. And if you try to make an art house film and it's not entertaining, then it's very hard to play it off like, all right, well, we'll just try again. So I'm sure if they're smart, that their solution will be to tell the rest of that story in other films, and I feel like that's perfectly fine. We've seen, a half dozen movies telling Hulk's story without him having his own movie. I'm sure they can do the same for Eternals.
Yeah,
and I agree.
Yeah.
We're not getting the Inhumans, especially since they're trying to introduce the mutants and the X-Men into it. They're not going to do the Inhumans too.
I feel like the time to have done an Inhumans movie is past.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely past. And getting the mutants, getting X-Men, but then also the fact that this summer they're doing a big event in the comics with the Eternals versus the X-Men versus the Avengers. I feel like that they're going to try and mirror what they're doing in the books to drive sales, and there's going to be more Eternals, and we're not going to see Inhumans.
Right. Yeah. Which is very frustrating because Black Bolt's always been one of my favorite characters, and there's so many subtle, amazing, iconic comic book moments. And I mean, we missed the opportunity to see him yelling at Thanos. We missed the opportunity to see him and Thor fighting on a planet and breaking up a moon. Like, we missed so many different things that they could have done.
Yeah.
And it really sucks because instead we got to see him. You know what I mean? Like, we
and
got
Anson
to see,
Mount was a good casting.
We should have seen
that show.
We should have seen Thor on. I mean, not Thor. We should have seen Black Bolt, in that fight on Endgame, yelling at Thanos and like being taken out by him somehow. But instead, we got Black Bolt getting beat up by New York cops with a baton.
Yeah, can you imagine if we saw the full power of Black Bolt unleashed in the MCU?
What's very frustrating is they made it seem like his only power was his voice, not the fact that even without the voice, he's practically fucking Superman.
Yeah, and again, I think Anson Mount was actually decent casting for the role. It was just a bad show, top to bottom. It was just a bad show.
You notice, I don't even think has Inhumans even made it on. Did they even make it on the on Disney Plus or no? I don't think it's there.
I didn't
see it. I didn't see it at all.
It might be on there.
Like, I mean, I've seen
just added Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think it is on there actually.
Oh man, I hope not.
I think it's on like, I don't know, Oxygen or Bravo.
I hope not. But here's the thing. Okay, so
they should deprive
you guys. So I understand that you basically said that the space for an Inhumans film has come and gone. But what if, like, all right, I'm gonna give you a what if. Would you be opposed to basically seeing Black Bolt as part of the Illuminati?
Bring him in that way.
That would be great. Inhumans is on Disney Plus.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, don't say that out loud. Don't say that shit out loud.
It's there.
Why you have to look it up, bro? Why you?
It's on Disney minus. I want
definitely give it a D minus.
Yeah, definitely D minus. I mean, I want Black Bolt to be part of the Inhumans too. I mean, we all seen at the round table, and you see the thought bubble of just the eclipse, the dot, and then the table crack because everyone was arguing over what to do about the other planets, during the Secret War storyline. I want to see so many moments like that. Like, I'm feeling like we were robbed of that, and it's very frustrating.
New Adelan, and I don't.
It's very frustrating.
The Illuminati in Multiverse of Madness would be a great vehicle to introduce Black Bolt, but like the individual character. But it still comes back to that whole issue of you can't introduce Inhumans and mutants like so close together in the MCU, because that's just gonna it's trying to cram too much in. As much as I would love to see those characters, it's not gonna work. So I don't think they would do it.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope that the mutants showing up doesn't mean that once they establish what mutants are and blah blah blah, that doesn't mean that they can wait a few years after mutants are introduced and then explain to us what Terrigen myths are in the humans. Because I feel like if they just really go forever and never give us in MCU and in film continuity. Black Bolt. That's a shame.
Yeah.
I mean, they might. It might be a thing where they introduce mutants first, and then
And then
they're establishing that, and then 5, 6, 7 years down the road, we start to maybe see hints of Inhumans, and then the kind of first introduction of the Inhumans to the MCU is them going head to head with the X-Men. Maybe
Mhm.
I mean,
might be something like that, but again, I think that's a long shot.
especially considering I don't need the Inhumans in the mix anyway. They're supposed to hate us and everybody and stay the fuck away from all of it. So
Yeah.
that's the other side of it. Because if they had the Inhumans in there and in the mix it for specific story and had them come in, then they could just dip right out instead of having this two different mutant type, people, class of people that they have to explain or feel like it's confusing. Because if Black Bolt is only showing up every few movies for like some big event, then you don't have to constantly feel like people are confused about what's the difference between Inhumans and mutants and what's the like. You could just have Black Bolt show up and fuck shit up and then leave again.
Yeah.
But I mean,
here's the thing though, because this is an unfortunate situation that we're, as much as we don't want to actually see the Inhumans again,
I just don't want to see the TV show again. I really would like to see a film. I'm saying I know that they're not going to do it.
Well, here's the thing. There's sort of like a gaping hole. There's like a hole or an actual space for it to happen. And that's in the form of Miss Marvel.
Well,
because
I haven't seen the trailer, but without spoiling too much, they got away from it being Terrigen Mist for her, right?
No.
No? Okay.
No.
So there is a lane there for the Mist, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then fuck it. Give me Black Bolt then, damn it.
Nothing they've given us with Ms. Marvel has given definitive this is how she's going to get her powers in the show. The only thing is that it is like her power is described as cosmic, or like how it feels cosmic. But that's it. There's no there's no other information given,
which I don't like either, because they're tweaking her having stretch powers so that way she's not too closely compared to Reed, but then calling her powers cosmic.
Cosmic is exactly how
cosmic.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I think
I don't think it's going to be an Inhuman thing, to be honest.
Two Tears in the Bucket made a great point, and I don't agree, but I see where he's coming from. And he said like about this is why the downside of them all being at the same studio. And there is something to that, because they're juggling so much as it is. When we get Mutants and Fantastic Four in the mix, what the fuck are they going to do? Like, they're not going to... I don't think Disney wants to give us more than 2 movies a year, 3 movies a year, and they have enough shit to give us. They could do 10 movies a year, and probably there'd be stuff that we feel like we're not getting.
Yeah. I mean, but I think if it's strategically done the right way, and I think that I trust the simple fact that it can be done in a way that it is satisfying. Having them. Here's the thing: is Kevin Feige is showing you how you can actually have, all the kids at the playground and unify it in a way where it's done the right way. You know what I mean? Whereas we've already seen the mess that the DCEU has created. So I have faith that they can pull everything within the wheelhouse and tell us great stories and do things where it's done cohesively the right way. So having with that basically being said, yes, it's a tough role to play and a tough job to have to try to bring everything together. But I think if I would want anybody to do it, and if I see anyone who can actually do it, Kevin Feige is the best one for the job. And I think it's going to be done well enough that, in the end, even if we do, somewhere down the line, there's a high possibility that we will get the Inhumans. There's a possibility that we could get the Inhumans again. And I'm fine with that. Hell, there's a possibility that we can get the Shi'ar dynasty. So I would love to basically see that, because I would definitely love to see the Gladiator on screen done right. You know what I mean? So again, my biggest drawback right now is I'm so worried about Guardians of the Galaxy, because we already know And it's already been, we're going to get Adam Warlock, and if they don't do that right, I'm going to be pissed. I already know that. It can't just be somebody you throw in and just bring out. You have to show his power scale. You have to do him right, and don't make him a goofy ass character. Don't do that, because that, again, I'm still amongst the minority of people who I was lukewarm when, you know, Thor Ragnarok was released, because coming out of theater, we talked about it. I didn't like how they sort of nerfed him into like this goofy character in the end. They showed some of it, his power scale, but they just made him too over the top goofy. I just don't want them to do that same thing in this next film. And I definitely don't want that done to Adam Warlock and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wait, you
Real
don't
quick,
want what done? And what next film? You don't want Thor
I
to be
don't
goofy again?
want
You don't
Thor
want-
to be this goofy
But
ass.
that was what has been
character.
the most
And
successful iteration for them.
I
They're not getting away
get
from
that, and
That's
they're
why
not
they
going to
brought
get away
Taika
from it.
back.
And I know, but at the same time, it's okay to actually have jokes here and there, but not over the top too much.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like when it's over the top too much. Like I mean, as funny as it was, the whole scream when he basically met I was just like, come on, man. Like there's
They're
ways
gonna
that
have to strike a balance, because the thing is,
Yeah.
in the comic books, that run with Gore, man, that is not a lighthearted stretch,
No.
right? Like that, it is
No.
very serious. It's very dark. Thor goes through probably one of the most painful ordeals he's ever experienced.
Mhm.
It kicks his ass. So
Hell yeah. Because Gore
they have
is
to be
basically an
able-
omega level threat. Like
and they
literally.
have to be able to balance that.
Yeah.
So I agree. I enjoyed Ragnarok thoroughly. I also I enjoyed it. It was a good change of pace, but I don't want that to be the norm moving
Yeah,
forward.
that's
So
what I'm saying.
I want
This
a
the
little bit,
norm.
like, I want it to be more like maybe like 75-25, something like that, like
Yeah.
70-30 in favor of like the this is the legit, hardcore story that we're telling with Gore, and the the 25-30% is like this is the Taika, like, really but you can't bounce back and forth between those nonstop.
Nah, you
It's like,
can't.
okay, get some of the funny out, but then when we hit our stride with the serious stuff, you can't ping pong back and forth. You gotta run with that,
Yeah.
and that be the driving force in the movie.
Because
I'm hopeful that that's what they do, but
me watching, like, for instance, I went back today and I watched, all the What If episodes on Disney Plus. Completely went past that Thor episode because
You're telling me Party Thor is not your favorite episode of television
Hell
history?
No.
Okay.
Hell no. I hated that episode with everything in me.
Yeah, I only stuck it out the whole episode because I didn't want to miss some shit that they referenced later.
I hated that episode. Really quick, Rick, real quick though. Got a new member in here, Den's Armory. Thank you, my guy. Thank you for becoming a member of the channel, man. Do appreciate that. Again, if you haven't already become a member of the 1/6 Scale Man YouTube channel, thank you very much for that, man. Thank you for becoming a member, and look out for those perks. But yeah, I did not. Yeah, bro. Nah, I'm good. Like, I'm definitely good on that. Yeah. But again, if there's an even balance, I'm still gonna watch the movie. Definitely, I'm gonna watch the movie. But like Brendan said, I want to balance where it's not dominating the entire time. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Like with these characters, it's okay to, have these funny quips here and there, but like not to just kind of just shoehorn it in constantly and say that's the new norm and that's the only way to basically get numbers.
We don't want it to be a buddy cop movie with Chris Hemsworth and Chris Pratt with like then one-liners from Batista and like it and you also have the added responsibility not just of getting the tone right, but of telling Jane Foster's evolving story the right way in this. And so people are excited for it, and I'm super excited for it. I'm also a little tentative about it just because I recognize that there are things that they've got a lot of balls in the air that they've got to figure out how to juggle. and it's not an easy task, and
Nah, it's not.
and also we don't know what ramifications, if any, are going to directly spin out of Multiverse of Madness
Yeah.
into that movie.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of the things that is just crazy, especially with COVID. So then it kind of, the schedule now, it's like, originally, did they want these two movies to come out so close together? Is there going to be a direct thing that needs to happen in Thor to then translate into the next Disney Plus show? It's a lot of, I have much more faith in Marvel and Kevin Feige and Disney were handling something like that than I do on the DC side, for example. Like right now, they don't know nobody really knows what's happening with the Flash movie with Ezra Miller. They,
Yeah.
and I'm of the mind, I think they're probably going to say, look, Ezra Miller is fired. We don't fuck with him anymore. But we made this movie that hundreds and hundreds of people worked on and are financially dependent upon. We're putting this movie out, but he will be recast. We are cutting ties with Ezra Miller. I feel like they're probably going to do that because they do have people who worked on that have contracts and all that. But also there are so many movies and TV shows that are supposed to come out after that movie that are going to be, because that's supposed to be kind of like a reset button somehow, for this universe. Case in point, the Batgirl movie, which was supposed to be an HBO Max, but now they're considering moving that to the theaters.
I love how this is a debate. I love that there's people who think that they're not putting that movie out. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars. I think Affleck got $30 million for it. Like, there's no way. There's just no way. There's no way.
Yeah, exactly. Like, people are like, well, what about when they reshot Kevin Spacey's scenes in that movie? I was like, he was in 7 scenes. Ezra Miller is in like every scene in this movie.
He's the key marquee. And if you're going to, and I'm saying they're not going to have hundreds of $1 million to basically reshoot those scenes. Yeah, nah.
Yeah, it would cost them $200 million to reshoot.
And it wouldn't just affect this film. Like you said, it springs off other films, and it's already a year behind schedule.
Plus the marketing budget. Now they've got to redo that.
They're going to hope by 2023 people forgot about it. And let's be honest, Ezra Miller isn't exactly, Ben Affleck or Robert Downey Jr. There's not even that many people who know. I think the average person on the street doesn't even know about this shit. So
yeah, but now the new head is David Zaslav.
I'm not saying they won't replace him.
Yeah,
I'm saying there's not going to be like public outcry that the movie comes out anyways.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And yeah, so like apparently they're very happy with the way this Batgirl movie has turned out. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how much of that is marketing? Because I mean, they were very happy with other movies that turned out to be garbage. So we don't know. But I don't believe that they're gonna, reshoot that movie with somebody else. There's too much money that has already been put into it. So my guess is they put it out, they cut ties with him, because the thing is, like you said, Batgirl, Michael Keaton is in Batgirl. Okay, you can't have Batgirl come out with Michael Keaton in it, however he's supposed to be in that, and delay the Flash movie and then have the Flash come out after Batgirl or several other movies. So they can't just take all these other properties like Batgirl and whatever else is impacted by this Flash movie and push those out a couple years while they reshoot.
Like you can't basically release the Batgirl with Michael Keaton in it, already knowing that he's in the Flash and that movie's pretty much done. It's done already.
And that
has to be released first.
Yes. Yeah. And that's such a clusterfuck. I have more faith in Marvel, not only being able to fix something like that, but being able to avoid something like that in the first place than I do Warner Brothers and how they're going to handle a situation like that. So it's when we get this, like, as this Marvel universe continues to grow and gets harder and harder to manage, I still at this point have faith that they can do it because they've shown us that they've been able to do it up to this point. There have been a couple of holes in the web, but for the most part, I think that they've made us happy. So I'm more confident that
I have confidence that they're going to basically bring it together. And it's like I said, I mean, they the construct is there. We already know that, with Kevin Feige helming this ship, and because everything is already pre-planned.
Yeah,
That's the biggest thing. Is everything is
which they
already
didn't have
pre-planned.
over there.
They didn't have that over there, and
If
hopefully
Warner
with
Brothers
Dave,
were making Thor or Guardians, I'd be worried.
yeah, this is true. This is very true. Which is basically why I think what David Zaslav is doing right now is he's trying to, because again, it's just like him getting a dumpster fire of bullshit and trying to kind of just put band-aids on things and put pieces back together, to kind of like, make things stick, find the right head or figurehead to kind of helm everything to make it work. And as we know that Zaslav is a fan. He's a DC fan.
Yeah.
He's also a fan of the Trinity. You know what I mean? And he wants to basically see them get that shine. So
He's just trying
there's
to
a lot of
stop
work.
the bleeding
Yeah,
long
there's a lot of
enough
work.
to then actually treat the patient. Like that's
Yeah,
what he's trying to do.
exactly. That's the thing. He's trying to put like he's trying to put like just like little patches on a ship so it can stay afloat until they can actually make it to mainland and find a new one. So that's what I'm saying. Like, is this one of those situations now that we just got to kind of watch and see? With the MCU right now, we see that, again, everything is I can't wait. It's next week, right? It's practically next week. Shit.
What?
Yeah, it's what,
Thanks.
like 10
Yeah.
days? It's
Yeah.
like
The
10
movie.
days, I think. 10,
It's
11
next
yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Are we having a are we pre-gaming at your crib?
It would have to, it probably wouldn't be able to be before. It might be maybe Sunday, but I don't think I'd be able to do it right before. I'd be working.
Hey, I was asking for a particular reason.
I know.
I know why you slid past that. We will never have a pregame at your crib again.
Well,
never,
I mean,
you know what? After that one day, we'd have never pre-gamed since. we never pre-gamed since the room has been locked down. But anyway, but not like literally, like it's next week. It's literally going to be interesting to see how. Again, like I'm excited, but there's a lot I know that is. Here's the thing. There's a lot of expectation from a lot of people when they see this film. And I think that people need to really temper those expectations right now. Again, just hold off.
They won't.
Be excited about you, right?
Won't.
Yeah. I'm trying to bring hope. I'm trying to spring hope.
Dude, after No Way Home, man, nobody is tempering expectations, man. Everybody's just going crazy. Like, and I get it. It's fun, but I mean, hey, can we just be happy that finally?
Okay, I'm happy.
Finally, we're getting Kate Bishop. Like, yeah. I mean, well, it's gonna be like a year and a half, 2 years, but they finally announced Kate Bishop, and we saw Clint's back there. So well, at least we're getting that.
You know what's dropping next month, right? What's supposed to be dropping
most likely Wanda.
Wanda's supposed to be dropping next one. Yeah.
They can push the WandaVision version out so that they can
get the other
the one from the movie. So yep. So we know,
and what they've already said is that there are multiple versions of her, so it's to be expected. I can't wait, man.
Well, yeah, we've seen. Well, Vinny hasn't, but
Vinny hasn't. So
several versions.
We've seen some things. So
I can't wait till this damn movie comes out. That's what
I feel you. But yeah, at least so at least Hot Toys. At least we're getting some. We're getting through.
I know Vinny's like, man, I can't wait till these motherfuckers just stop talking about this shit. Yo, you dodging like, bro, Vinny.
I spent 6 months like
though. It's never ending because
I spent 6 months like Neo. Fucking Neo from the Matrix, man, dodging shit like fucking Neo, man.
Yeah, but then once this is over, it's gonna be then the next thing. It's like, all right, now how is this gonna lead into Thor?
But it's levels.
It's
levels. Like there's some shit that's like, all right, if I hear something that, if somebody spoils something from like Miss Marvel, I'm not as pissed as something big from Doctor Strange.
This is like secret level in Donkey Kong.
It's levels to it.
Yeah,
but yeah, you're right. It's always something. I mean, shit.
It's gonna be hard as shit for you to dodge this bullet, bro. What? Not really, because it's here now. You know what I mean? So
That's what I mean. So it's like it's one more week. I'm gonna have my headphones in. I'm gonna go in the theater. I'm gonna be like, until the movie starts. I'm just be like, because I know everyone in the crowd will have seen all the damn trailers. So I'm gonna just have the headphones in, and I'm just when the movie starts, I'll be like, all right, cool.
When it's some bitch, he's going to see it earlier than us, bro. He gets to see it at 3:00.
Thursday, 3:00. I literally I was like, what's the first showing? That's the one I'm going to.
Yeah.
Because I was like otherwise, like you guys, you're gonna have to be offline that whole like I'm gonna be offline.
I won't be online at all that day.
Yeah,
Right, I'm
I'm
gonna be
not. I'm not.
offline.
I'm shutting everything down.
But I don't have to do it as long. It's like 3 o'clock. But all right, I'm there because I literally I was like first showing. That's the one I'm getting because I want to get in. I want to see this movie, and then I want to like just have that relief wash over me. Like when you take like a really like cathartic like relieving deuce. Man, that's what it's gonna be like for me.
Bro, you
Just
and
gonna
shit.
like
You I swear to God, that's the third
they
time.
call it a throne for a reason. It's sometimes it's just nice to sit there. Okay. So I'm just saying I'm gonna have 3 o'clock and it's gonna be like the most cathartic, just dropping the kids off at the pool. It's gonna feel great, man. Cause I'm just gonna be
just
like,
to be away from
I'm
everybody.
I'm good now. Like, okay, I've seen it. Like, I don't have to worry
Yeah.
about anything else.
Yeah.
It'll be done. So 3 o'clock on that Thursday, boom, good to go.
Brendan Silent said, I'm just like you, Vin. I feel you. Dodging rumors and spoilers is a tough life. It is, man. It is. It's tough. Like, imagine being Vinny sitting in the movie theater, right? And they automatically show the trailer, and he's in the middle of a crowd that's seated on both sides. The only thing he can do is cover his ear and turn his face. Like,
but see, now what you have to watch out for is as No Way Home, showed is like, oh wait, is the final post credit scene gonna be a trailer? Oh shit, now I gotta run. Like,
in No Way Home, we were sitting there like sometimes after a movie we'll look up to see if there's one or two extra credits.
Mario.
And somebody said, and I seen that the second after credit was the Doctor Strange trailer and not just Dip. And I know everybody was like, "You idiot! You never leave a Marvel movie during the trailers." And I was like,
I know what I'm doing.
This is like I know what I'm doing. This isn't another credit scene. This is just a fucking commercial. So I'll see y'all in the lobby.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like I knew that like the post credits thing in the Batman was just like the Riddler URL code thing, and I was like, I don't need to say that. And all these people are like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, you sit here for 10 more minutes and let's see how happy you are."
Just watch the QR code.
Like,
that's
nope,
it.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Just watch the QR code. Let that go past. And
but
you feel good about that.
Admittedly, though, it's hard. I mean, it's definitely hard for somebody like Vinny, but because trailers and TV spots and leaks and all of that have become such a big part of the speculative process that we all go through as geeks going into looking into each one of these movies. And so it's hard to be able to participate in any of those conversations and share excitement about these things without being exposed to those because they become such an integral part. Thanks to social media, and,
it's like you
marketing
can
in general now.
Is exactly, bro. Because whereas back in the day when we went and saw films, Vinny, you didn't have to worry about it. There wasn't really thing. You didn't have to watch because then they weren't spending like several different trailers on TV. You saw the one and then you move forward. Now you have to have you have like the teaser, you have the first, second, third, and then the final trailer.
And they're sneaky too, because it's be like this is like a 15-second spot, but they can cram so much into it.
They cram some shit into it.
Seen it.
Hell yeah!
Whereas back in the day, anytime Vinny heard "in a world where," he knew to just fuck out. Right? He knew it's like, oh hell no.
Yeah,
like he was gone. It's like you heard that deep like Coltrane voice in a world where, and you was like, boom, I'm out.
You took me so back, bro. Like
that dude with the trailer voice,
bro.
Man.
The trailer dude. You don't hear him anymore, bro.
There were two of them, and you could tell them apart. But they were both so good. It was like, and like how many movie trailers back in the day? It was like in a world where it was always that shit. Everything was in a world.
It was always a world, bro. In a world. That was just that was always the thing. In a world.
Just imagine Marvel brings them back for like something like this in a world where there are multiple worlds.
You know what? Charlie the Unicorn, R.I.P. trailer dude.
I want to like spin it out of the multiverse. I want a Howard the Duck movie, and I want that trailer to be in a world where a duck.
Yeah, bro.
Up, right, and then
straight up, bring back the trailer dude, man. Bring back a different iteration of the trailer dude. His voice was just incredible.
I'm sure he's got kids, man. He's got grandkids. Somebody he had to pass down those, those vocal vocal genes to somebody. Come on.
It's too bad he's not like the Buffer family, where like every member
Charlie
of the
Unicorn,
family.
he did. No joke. Oh, my bad.
Well, there were two of them though. There were two. One was a little bit more famous, but there were
Damn.
two that were big back then. So
Yeah.
maybe the other one's alive. I don't
In
know.
the
But
great
like,
world.
In the world. Yeah. And he always slurred that, bro. He just stretched it. In the world. Far away from here. Bro, it was
always in a world where video
Yeah.
One man.
for the room.
one man. Yeah, it was always that, bro. They just changed it now. So there's no inner world,
I
dude.
missed those trailers from
Rest in
back in the
peace.
day, though.
Inner world, dude.
Trailers were a whole different game back in like the
In
80s
the
and
world
early
where the
90s.
In the world, God doesn't exist.
It was
No.
they
That's
were different back then, man.
definitely, man.
They were
Anyway,
awesome.
we are at the 145 mark, man. Great discussion tonight. Can't wait for episode 5 of Moon Knight. Literally, man, I can't. This episode was incredible. So much to really dissect. There's so much also. Here's the thing, real quick before we go. I hope, like we said, there's 2 episodes left. I hope that both episodes breathe equally. You feel me? Like there's not cramming,
Yes.
like they have just enough space between both that it's cohesive and it's done nice. You know, not like that. That was one of my biggest, even though I loved Hawkeye, that last episode felt like things were just crammed in. You know
No
what I
doubt.
mean? So
Hawkeye was probably the worst proponent of that.
yeah, it was just, it felt crammed. So cram. I hope basically we don't see that. Yeah. 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 I hope we don't basically see that with these next 2 episodes, but I think it's going to be fun, man. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I can't wait to actually see it. Brendan, what you got coming up next besides The Naked Truth?
Yeah, so I get I'll film something for the channel some next day or 2. So
Yeah.
I'll get that out for you. I already got the next one chosen.
Gotcha.
So I'll be doing that. Comics again on Wednesday. We got Spider-Man #1. So that'll be fun. And then the second issue of this new Punisher miniseries. So I'm looking forward to that. Got Batwoman in, Bat Lady, So Toys Bat Lady.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna work on the hair and stuff before I do anything really with photo and video because I want to try and get that right.
Yeah.
And tomorrow actually is Tuesday, so the Uncharted movie drops on digital. It obviously is not as good as the games, but I enjoyed it, so I'm gonna probably watch. Oh yeah, it was fun to watch, and there were also some teases of stuff that they'll do in another one that will be more direct tie-in to the games. So
And that was a Sony property, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But it was like Sony Studios is like PlayStation Studios that they've developed specifically for their video game properties and stuff.
Got you.
Try and get in a little bit more of Horizon Forbidden West. That game is amazing. So I want to. Plus, I got to finish that so then I can play Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga because that's supposed to be badass. So looking forward to that. And my Miles Morales HD aluminum print should be shipping soon. So hopefully that will get here soon. I'm looking forward to that. And I talked to the guys at SSR, and the Kingdom Come Batman should be shipping in the next week or so. They said like by the end of this month. So
Batman or Superman?
The Superman. The Superman Kingdom Come.
Got you.
So, which was available either in the single pack or the 2-pack with like the Farmer Kent one and like the overalls and stuff.
But you didn't want that one. You just got.
No, I just went with the single. I went with the single. So that's shipping by the end of this month. Then it's a matter of how long it takes for wherever you got it from to get it to you. Had some issues with them being a little lackadaisical with getting shit turned over to DHL. So we'll see about that. But that should be coming out. So theoretically, in the next like 3 weeks or so, I'm hopeful that we'll have that. And then just got some family and friends coming for for the weekend. Got my daughter's birthday is actually Thursday, her 10th birthday, and so we're doing the kids party at a trampoline park on Saturday. So that'll be interesting. And then the like family and friends, like adults, like barbecue with plenty of booze and smoked meats, will be at my house on the Sunday. So yeah, it should be a pretty good week. And I mean, then it's gonna be a long stretch after Wednesday's episode of Moon Knight until the finale, because that's gonna feel like 6 months.
Oh no, because that's the day before. That the finale is the day before Multiverse, which is going to be interesting to see if they're going to try to use this as take advantage of it. We'll see how it happens though.
Yeah, and but yeah, and it's just an exciting time too, because we got Obi-Wan on the horizon.
Yeah,
they've started to
celebration, baby, next month.
Celebration May the 4th. They're almost completely finished on Guardians 3. They just started filming on Echo.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that is going to be pretty exciting. So I'm looking forward to everything that's coming.
Hell yeah, man.
Very, sir.
Me too. If you haven't already, you know what it is. Butt Naked Assassin, aka Brendan Mass Effort Collector, and Real Raleigh on Instagram. Follow that. Vinny, what's going on with you, brother, besides the room?
Oh man, just work. I got hyped today because I got an email from Repop. I don't know if you got yours.
Yeah, I did.
About New York Comic-Con tickets. Pre-sale is on the way, so I'm looking forward to that. Always happier when I have that under my belt and out of the way, so I can not worry about tickets, because tickets to that con is such a headache.
They didn't put up the that pre yet to get.
I don't believe so, but that'll probably be made accessible at some point in between now and when they have the actual pre-sale. So I'll be checking for that, because I imagine they'll send an email for that as well. So so I'm excited for that. I've been so swamped with work that I've been just pretty much having time for work. I'm behind on art stuff, but just a lot of just juggling work, art, family stuff, friend stuff, the usual. I'm really excited for last couple episodes of Moon Knight. Definitely more beyond excited for Strange. If like I said, if for nothing else, just be able to have a sigh of relief that it's over. I can't wait for the second viewing with a movie like this. Sometimes that's the more enjoyable viewing, because
true.
You get
and
because we'll probably go to a different theater. Yeah, we'll go to a different theater and see it.
I'll probably do like we did with No Way Home and bounce over to West Shore.
Don't go to the one you first saw the Batman in, because apparently they had janky audio in that joint. Don't go to that place.
I know. See,
well,
I hope it's not in that theater.
Yeah. So
I hope it's not in that theater. So we'll see.
Yeah. So other than that, just that's it. That's enough. So
if I message you after the movie pissed off, then we went to that theater, bro.
But then again, but it's different though, because that
there
film,
other theaters near you? Go to a different one.
I know. See, the thing is, it's
down the street from us, so it's like we could be I could get home from. It's just we're going to 7:00 show, and I could get home from work at 6:30 and showered and just drive down the street,
and it's right there.
To worry about traveling across town. So it's I could.
It's right around the corner, literally 2-3 minutes away by car.
It's right there. That makes it so much easier for me, because I'm always.
It's just that one dumbass theater. Just that one. It's that one.
But so it's close. So you go a little bit further, man. That's like.
Well, see that's what the second viewing for.
Backyard, and I got to take a piss, and I'm like, well, I could go inside and use my bathroom, or there's a tree right here, so I'm just gonna whip it out and piss on the tree in my yard. No, I'm gonna walk into my house and go to the bathroom.
Wait a second.
A little bit further.
Wait. Hold up.
A little bit further.
Hold up. We're men. We piss on the fucking tree. What are you talking about?
Not my own backyard. Not when they're
fuck it.
I you know what? I like the creature comforts of my own bathroom. I'm not one of those. Shit, standing up. No,
I didn't say take a shit at the tree, but if you got to piss, it's right.
That's the
thing.
Standing up, but no, no. I mean, you just drive a little bit further, You know, you got some music in the car, you got a podcast, you go a couple extra minutes further.
Yeah, the big movies,
and you go to a better theater.
Sometimes we'll see it at a different theater, but for real,
Yeah.
no theater really matters to me until I hear it at home anyway. So
yeah, we'll get it in anyway. If you haven't already followed Vinny and Vincent Dunn Art on Instagram, basically make sure that you actually do that. Also, if you haven't already become a member of the 1/6 Scale Man YouTube channel, do that. Also, again, look out for like some of the great content we actually got coming. Say What on Wednesday, Figure Flex Friday, of course, and then back here for Collectors Lounge International on Sunday, followed by another Take Your Position. So stay tuned for that. And then back here for another discussion of Moon Knight next Monday after episode 5 this Wednesday. Stay tuned. Everybody out there in the chat, we love you guys. Thank you for basically being a part of this, man. Again, from us to you guys, man, just keep it classy. Always keep it peaceful and nice.
happy birthday, Renz.
Happy birthday to Renz out there, man. Thank you all again for this basically being a part of this, man. We can't wait to talk again next week. But until then, we love y'all. Peace out. Let's go. That was the wrong one. This is the right one.